You're listening to Release Your Resistance with Bex Beltran, episode 69. Welcome to Release Your Resistance. This is Bex. The only reason why any of us don't have what we want in life is because of our own resistance. Right now, I'm learning how to recognize and release my resistance, and this podcast tells you how you can release your resistance so that you can live the exact life that you want. Let's get started. Listen all the way through to the end of this episode because I want to tell you about an email, just one specific email. But for now, let's talk about my favorite qualities. And at the end, I want to share a quality secret. And I wonder if you'll figure out as you listen what the secret is, or if it's one of those secrets that is actually an obvious thing that everybody already knows, or if you agree with me that discovering this secret is actually kind of fun and interesting. I tried to think of the favorite qualities that I like about myself and the qualities that I love about my friends and that I would look for in a friend. And then, of course, I thought about qualities that I love in my partner and what I guess I might look for in a partner. And that quote-unquote wish list has probably changed over the years. And I want to share with you my favorite qualities about myself. And I'm wondering if in hearing these, that you will recognize these qualities in yourself. Or maybe these qualities are not important to you. Maybe you have other qualities that you care more about for you. First, let me tell you what my favorite qualities in myself are. My own favorite qualities are my curiosity, my creativity, and my imagination. The reason that I love being a curious person is because I think it is so interesting. It's how I learn. Many people have remarked to me over the years in work environments and in my personal life that I ask a lot of questions. And I do. And I love it. I ask myself a lot of questions. I think much of the way that I look at life is by asking questions, like wondering why things are the way they are and wondering how things work and wondering how things could be improved and how things will turn out. Maybe this is normal for everyone. Maybe everyone is naturally curious, but I kind of suspect that it's not that way. I kind of suspect that some people never think to question the way that I do. And I think it's fine. It takes all kinds in this world, and diversity makes our experience so rich. So I love that not everyone has exactly the same qualities. And at the same time, I will just say that I do love my own curiosity. The second quality about myself that I really, really enjoy and that gives me so much energy is my creativity. Again, this is one of those qualities that people have told me that they've noticed in me or that is remarkable or that they wish they had or something along those lines. And I get really surprised when I meet people who don't seem to care about or aren't interested in creativity because it is such an important quality for me. I like the act of thinking about something and then bringing it into reality. When I'm talking about creativity, I am not just talking about arts and crafts creativity, although I do like that as well. I like the creativity of coming up with solutions for problems. I like the creativity of thinking of clever jokes, of putting two things together that didn't necessarily seem to go together, but then somehow they do work together. So I look for ways that I am creative, and I guess I just love this quality because it's the idea of bringing something into existence that did not previously exist. And the idea of curiosity and creativity, those two qualities kind of imply or suggest the third quality that I love about myself, my imagination. This quality is both a blessing and a curse. I have a very active imagination. I always have, my whole life. I think I was a very imaginative child, and I can entertain myself, even today, for hours just with my own imagination. So that's why it is such a blessing. I find it very interesting and entertaining and wondrous. And because my imagination is so active, I frequently can imagine problems and worst case scenarios and doomed situations. So that's why having an active imagination is also a curse, because sometimes this quality allows me to think of things that nobody else would ever think about or worry about or bring up. Here I am talking about, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? And no one else would have even considered it, or it would have never crossed anyone else's mind. So imagination is a quality about myself that I really do love, and the benefits far outweigh the downside. I just love the entertainment aspect of my own imagination. Did any of these three qualities sound familiar to you? Are you a person who is curious and creative and imaginative? Or now that I'm bringing them up to your attention, are these qualities that you might look for in a friend? Let's talk about qualities that I value in my friends. When I think about people who I am naturally drawn to, or people in my life who I have been friends with and invested time and effort to maintain the friendships with, these qualities come to mind. Of course, there are a lot of different reasons to be friends with someone. I don't just make friendship decisions based solely on their qualities, but I did notice that some of the qualities that I really appreciate in my friends are quick wit, intelligence, and camaraderie. Let's talk about intelligence first. I don't know if this is a politically incorrect quality to have as a preference, and it certainly is not a requirement, of course. So this might sound super privileged or super judgy, but I do notice that I like spending time with people who are intelligent. When I talk about intelligence, I'm not just talking about IQ. I love the work of Howard Gardner, who talks about multiple types of intelligence. For example, someone could have a linguistic type of intelligence, or a spatial type of intelligence, or interpersonal or intrapersonal. There are just so many types of intelligence. And I really value the intelligence of my friends so that we can have interesting conversations and so that we can share our perspectives and our worldviews with each other. And this one runs into the next one that I mentioned, which is having a quick wit. I'm a person who loves to laugh. I love jokes. I love funny situations. I love puns, although there can be too many. I actually spent some time with a guy who was very, very into puns. And I'll tell you, that did get a little bit too much. I'm sure he thought he was amazing, and he is amazing. He's a great guy, but he also overused his pun invention quality. It frequently went from witty to way too much. But that's just an extreme example. What I am talking about is someone who has a quick wit, who's able to jump in on a joke and add to it and make it even funnier, and who laughs easily and frequently. And the third quality that I love about my friends is camaraderie. The fact that we genuinely like to spend time together, that we look for opportunities to spend more time together, that when we are together, we're in a good mood, we like each other's company, and when we leave each other after having spent time together, we miss each other. I have some friends who I haven't seen in years, not just because of the pandemic, but because we live far apart from each other, or our lives just don't intersect the way that they used to. And I still feel camaraderie with those people as well. As soon as we get on a phone call together, or when we do get to see each other, it's like no time has passed at all. And even though our lives might be in very different places than they were when we first met and became friends, we still have that camaraderie where we enjoy each other's company. So that is a quality that I look for and value in my friends. What about all of these qualities in a partner? This is a question I thought was so interesting when I started to consider it, because the answer I would have given back when I was quote unquote looking for a partner, and the answer that I am giving today about my partner are probably not the same. A lot of years have passed. A lot of maturity has developed. A lot of experience has happened. Certainly, I am not the same person that I was when I was looking for a partner. So These answers to the question of what qualities would I look for in a partner will probably have changed because of my maturity and because I know my partner now so intimately now that we've been together for almost 20 years. 20 years ago, when I was dating and not committed to one specific person, I would have probably answered this question, what I look for in a partner, much differently. I probably would have said something like, sense of humor and someone who's responsible. I would have said intelligence. So maybe the things that I would have valued in a partner were the same things that I just mentioned about what I value in friends. I did like the idea of dating someone who has a quick wit and who's intelligent and who I like to spend time with. Obviously, I would look for those similar qualities in a partner that I wanted in my friends. But now that I've been with my husband for almost 19 years, we got married in 2006 and we were together for 4 years before that. Now, when I think about what I love about him and what made me decide that he was the one, it's because he is such a kind and generous person. So kind and so generous that it stood out to me when I started to recognize those qualities in him. Yes, most people are kind and generous. Yes, everyone has moments of kindness and generosity, but he is so kind and generous that it actually came to my awareness while we were dating, and I realized, wow, this guy, he really takes care of his family and he will do anything for them. And not that other people don't do that. Of course, we all take care of our families. We will all do things for our families if they need our help. It really stood out to me about him, about how generous he is and how kind he is. And not only to the people that he loves and knows and cares for in his life, but he's so kind to strangers and animals too. The other qualities that I love about my husband are his consistency and dependability. And it's kind of funny to mention his consistency because he is actually a very spontaneous person. So it's kind of surprising to think that he would have any consistency. I like to joke about the fact that I'm a planner and an organizer, and he's more of a spontaneous, let's see what happens type of person. And those parts of ourselves frequently clash, but in fact, there is a lot of consistency about him and his behavior that me, the routine planner, loves to recognize. I love to see those patterns. I love to predict, oh, I bet he's going to say this or react this way now. And then he does. And I was right. And the pattern continues. So I love that. But I think someone can be dependable without being consistent. My husband is very dependable, and I value that so much. Not because I need to depend on him, because I am pretty independent. His dependability is kind of a bonus. Being in a partnership with someone who is so dependable, even when I don't quote unquote need it, and knowing I would be fine without being able to depend on him, but I do get to depend on him, it is such a great quality. And just like I mentioned that I think I am an independent person, my husband is so self-sufficient. And it's one of my favorite qualities about him. His self-sufficiency was another one of the things that stood out to me when we first started dating. That quality demonstrated that when he wants something, when he wants to learn something, when he wants to figure something out, he can figure it out for himself. I see so many areas of his life where he is self-taught, where he has given himself his own opportunities, where he has created what he needed and wanted for himself. And no one else offered it to him or gave it to him or showed him the way. He just decided he was going to do it, and then he did. And this is such an attractive quality, more attractive than any eye color or height or body physicality or anything like that. Just the idea of someone who can figure out what they want for themselves and then how to get it for themselves is amazing. And I want to point out, I didn't decide that I wanted these qualities in a partner up front. I didn't see these qualities right away. I didn't know I valued them when I was dating. But I must have intuitively recognized that he had them and I wanted them in a partner. What about you? I'm wondering now if I have sparked any interest in you. Have you started to think about qualities that you value in yourself and your friends and family and partner? Or if you're kind of on the lookout right now to find and develop new friendships and new relationships and partnerships, I wonder if my description has given you something to think about as far as what qualities you might look for and value in yourself and in other people and in relationships. I just want to pause here and give a quality discussion disclaimer. All of this is to suggest to you that we all enjoy and appreciate some qualities over others at different times in our lives. This is not to suggest that now you need to develop or appreciate the qualities that I just mentioned. The qualities that are my favorites may not be important to you at all. So just because I mentioned curiosity and creativity and imagination and camaraderie and kindness and resourcefulness does not mean that you would need to develop those qualities for yourself, or else you would be unappreciated or unwanted. And just because I favor those qualities does not mean that you need to favor these qualities and seek these qualities out in yourself and or in your relationships with friends and partners and other people. Maybe these qualities are nice to have, but not deal breakers. So let's talk about qualities that we all probably would agree are very important and nice to have qualities, but are not deal breakers. When I was thinking about these qualities, I really came to the realization that sure, these qualities are nice to have, but for me, at least, they are not mandatory in any way. If someone that I know and love doesn't have these qualities, I am still down. I'm still good to go. It doesn't matter to me. I will definitely make do without appreciating these qualities in someone in my life. The first one is attentiveness. Maybe this goes back to my own quality of imagination and being able to entertain myself and my own independence, because I just don't need to be paid attention to all the time. And that might be funny to say as someone whose podcast you're listening to right now, where I'm basically asking you to listen to me, pay attention to what I want to tell you. But in real life, if someone is not super attentive and doesn't remember all of my details and doesn't check in on me, that's fine. I don't mind when they do. That's nice too, but it's not a requirement for me. I don't think I need attentiveness as a quality in a partner or even as a friend. I think I would rather have those qualities that I mentioned earlier. I'd rather have a connection with them versus being checked in on or attended to. Another quality that is nice to have, but again, not a deal breaker for me, is punctuality. And this one is so funny because when I talk to people about punctuality, some people get really upset when I say that I don't really care too much about it. I have a few people in my life who I just build in the buffer time from when we agree to meet to when I think we will actually meet. I just know that we have a different understanding and appreciation of time. I don't think punctuality is a big deal at all. Not to say that I am not a punctual person. I think I pretty much am. Again, I'm an organizer. I'm a planner. I like things to be a certain way, and I value that. But I also don't make it a big deal if I'm late or if someone else is late, because I'm just assuming in general, people want to be on time and want to respect each other's time. And if we're late, it's probably because something unexpected happened. Now, you might not agree with this. Many people might not agree with this. And you might be thinking, well, some people are just consistently late all the time. Shouldn't that be a deal breaker? Shouldn't that be a problem? Isn't that a sign of lack of respect? I really don't think it is. I think someone can completely respect me and also never show up on time. I don't think there's a correlation between those two. I think the same is true in business and employment situations. Again, I'm not advocating for tardiness or lack of awareness of time. I like being aware of time and being on time. I think it's great when people are on time, but I have heard other people just get really bent out of shape about someone showing up late or being late or even being consistently late. And I think, well, if they're consistently late, you know that. So why would you expect the alternative? Why would you think someone who you've recognized as consistently late, why would they be on time? You can just do the time conversion for yourself in your head, and then you never have to be bothered by it again. So that's why the quality of punctuality is just not a deal breaker. But I'm open to other suggestions. If you know something about the importance of punctuality that I don't know or that I am overlooking, tell me. I want to hear about it. Another quality that it's kind of funny. These are all kind of funny, right? This one, it's a nice quality to have, but certainly not a deal breaker. It's charm. We all love charming people, right? Charming people, by definition, are charming. And they are, even if not physically attractive, they've just got that quality about them that is attractive, like magnetic. They are so charming. So it makes sense that charming would be a nice quality to have. But what I want to say is, it's certainly not a deal breaker. I have known and loved so many people in my life who are, to put it poorly, I'm sorry, I don't know of a better way to say this, but who are boring and awkward, dull and blunt, the opposite of charming. And I'm sure we've all known and loved people who are just not that charming, but who are great people and who have amazing other qualities. And that's why I think while being charming is nice, it is not a deal breaker. So why is knowing all of this or thinking about it important? The reason why I share this with you is to reinforce the suggestion that just because the quality is nice, it doesn't mean that it's required or mandatory in order for you to be accepted or chosen as a friend or accept or choose yourself or in a partner. I'm pointing this all out to you with the suggestion that you might want to consider your favorite qualities, the way that I have just now. Consider which qualities you find nice but not deal breakers. And by doing this introspective work for yourself, you could actually prioritize which qualities you care about, which qualities you want to develop for yourself, and which qualities you could take or leave. Finally, it's time for the secret I told you about, the secret about qualities. Qualities are just descriptions. They are just thoughts. I could recognize the quality of charm in someone, and you might think they're boring. I could find someone completely self-sufficient, and you might be wondering why they're so needy. I might think of myself as creative, and you may not agree. It's all just what we think. And as always, recognizing and having awareness about what we are thinking is the best news ever, because this awareness gives us the power. Because our thoughts are optional. We can notice the thoughts we want to intentionally keep thinking and discard and refute the thoughts that don't serve us. And in the interest of capitalizing on this secret and recognizing the power over our own qualities and the qualities we appreciate in other people, in a future episode, I will talk about how to develop qualities that you want but don't yet have, and also what to do about negative qualities. And before I go, I just want to check to see if there is any resistance about what I have shared today. Are there any disagreements or any questions? Let me know so I can address it in part 2 of this episode. Send me an email at hi@bexby.org or leave a comment in the show notes for this episode at bexby.org/qualities, QUALITIES. At the beginning of this episode, I mentioned getting 1 email a month, or 1 more email if you're already one of my favorite people. So I have started a notebook newsletter. It's just 1 email once a month where I'm sharing some helpful or interesting information about the benefits of note-taking, list-making, and of course, my favorite topic, journaling. And I'll also be introducing the featured notebook or journal from my shop each month and announcing the winner of the best review from the previous month. So if you are a journal superfan like me, or a notebook lover, or a list maker and note taker, I'm inviting you to get 1 extra email each month. Sign up for the notebook newsletter now. Get it for as long as you like and unsubscribe when it's no longer for you. Go to bexby.org/newsletter to get your welcome email right away. It also has a gift of some journal prompts and more information about how you can get a free journal or notebook from me, and then get your once a month email in the first week of the next month. And if you're already on my favorites list, meaning that you do already get an email from me each week with every new podcast episode, there's a link in today's email for you to click on to get added to the newsletter list too. And that is it for today. Thank you for considering a few favorite qualities with me. I haven't decided if I'll do the second part of this episode next week, or maybe I'll talk about some very interesting fictional women. Both episodes are going to be so good that I can't decide, so let me know if you have a preference. Either way, you will hear from me again next week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. This has been Release Your Resistance. Thank you for listening. If you like this podcast, make sure you're subscribed and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Also, think about someone who you know who would love this episode and share it with them. There should be a share button on your app if you're listening to this on your phone. If you'd like to continue this conversation one-on-one or in real time, come visit me on my site at bexb.org to see how we can work together.